The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN for short, is an association that today consists of 10 Southeast Asian states, which are Malaysia, Myanmar, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Philippines, and also Brunei Darussalam. In 1967, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines, Singapore, and Malaysia founded ASEAN. The aim was to improve economic, political, and social cooperation. Another objective was to balance political conflicts between these countries that existed as a consequence of decolonization and post-colonial state building, and also to promote regional peace and stability. During Cold War, Asian members wanted to contain the influence of communism in their region. Since 2001, the Asian Summit takes place annually. It is a meeting of the heads of state and government where current problems are discussed and solutions are worked out. On 5th December 2008, the ASEAN Charter came into force, giving the association the status of a legal person. Principles of non-intervention and consensual decision-taking remain unchanged by the Charter and became part of it. Today, ASEAN is based on three pillars, which are as a political and security community to ensure peace, as an economic community with a strong domestic market, and as a social and cultural community including a common identity. ASEAN faces a number of challenges, especially in relation to social and environmental justice. On the other hand, ASEAN was also divided into several parts, which is ASEAN-4. ASEAN-4 consists of 4 large countries, which are Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and Philippines. They are focusing more on economic growth, and also they are facing a few challenges to maintain their social, environmental, and also economic growth.
Deforestation are becoming more prevalent and everywhere, especially since it has occurred in ASEAN-4, which are Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, and Philippines. It has profound impact on ASEAN-4. For example, Indonesia, one of the countries in Southeast Asia, consists of in ASEAN-4. The export of oil palm from Indonesia is a lucrative business. Some of these forests have been cleared illegally to make room for plantation. Furthermore, deforestation and forest degradation in Malaysia is a complex phenomenon with varying causes so far. However, the focus is largely on direct or proximate causes like industrial logging, large-scale commercial oil palm plantation and agribusiness, road construction, and large dams. Meanwhile, the causes of deforestation in Thailand are population growth, agricultural policy, land ownership policy, and illegal logging. Last but not least, in the Philippines, aside from logging, whether legal or illegal, other causes of deforestation in the Philippines are forest fires, called as cane farming, which means slash and burns agriculture, and mining mining operation.
The problem that ASEAN-4 needs to resolve is the problem of heat. Indonesia's rainforests and peatlands are naturally fireproof because of the damp microclimate they maintain throughout the year. Widespread fires are virtually unheard of where they dominate Indonesia's landscape. Fires vary in severity from year to year in step with periods when the Southern Asian region experiences especially dry spells. During the fire season, which occurs mainly during the dry season from July to October, prevailing winds often carry a thick smoke haze from Sumatra and Indonesian Borneo towards Singapore, Malaysia, and to a lesser extent southern Thailand, and on rare occasions even further afield to Indonesia's other Asian neighbors. Pollution from Indonesia's 2015 fire and heat crisis was estimated by modeling carried out by researchers from Harvard and Columbia universities to have caused more than 100,000 premature deaths across Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Singapore, which along with Malaysia is one of the 2 countries most severely affected by transboundary heat originating in Indonesia, has gone further than other signatories to the AATHP by raising the issue at the United Nations in 2006. Singapore has also passed passed into force its own enabling legislation in 2014, the Singapore Transboundary Haze Pollution Act (THPA) that criminalizes conduct which causes or contributes to haze pollution in the country.
Water pollution also is the one of the problem that ASEAN-4 need to be resolved. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies, usually as a result of human activities. Water bodies include, for example, lakes, rivers, ocean, aquifers, and groundwater. Water pollution problems occur almost every year in ASEAN-4. Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia water pollution with different problems in each country. For example, in Indonesia, it is because of weak awareness, weak compliance to rules, and weak law enforcement domestic and industry waste causing the most river water in Indonesia is polluted. In Thailand, around 14 billion cubic water of wastewater from farms were discharged directly to rivers, and in the same years another 6 billion cubic meters of polluted water from factories were produced. In the Philippines, out of more than 100 million Filipinos, 9 million rely on unsafe water supplies. And lastly, Malaysia. The quality of river Malaysia is increasingly threatened by various forms of pollution such as agro-industry, manufacturing, and so on.
The next problem in ASEAN is pandemic. Pandemic is an epidemic of an infectious disease that has spread across a large region, for instance, multiple continents or worldwide, affecting a substantial number of people. As we know, there are a lot of pandemics that occurred in our world, and currently COVID-19 pandemic that also occurred in ASEAN-4, which is Philippines, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. Coronavirus disease 2019, also known as COVID-19, is defined as illness caused by a novel coronavirus, formerly called 2000 nCoV, which first identified amid an outbreak of respiratory illness case in Wuhan, Hubei province, China. Because of this pandemic, ASEAN-4 was feeling the socio-economic impact of the pandemic. The rapid spread of the virus in China led to the disruption of supply chains and freezing demand, limiting the flows of travel, trade, and investment. Indonesia is a nation of the coast of Southeast Asia, spread across an enormous archipelago. The COVID-19 in Indonesia was confirmed to spread to Indonesia on 2 March 2020 after a dance instructor and her mother tested positive for the virus. The suffering economy has pushed approximately 5.5 to 8 million citizens back into poverty. Other than that, Philippines also affected by COVID-19. The first case in the Philippines was identified on 30 January 2020 and involved a 30-year-old Chinese woman who was confined at San Lazaro Hospital in Manila. This pandemic has affected the economy, where the Central Bank of the Philippines noted that the coronavirus outbreak could have a major impact on Philippine economy over the next few months. Other than that, Malaysia also part of the ongoing worldwide pandemic of coronavirus. The first cases in Malaysia were confirmed among travelers from China in Johor via Singapore on 25 January. In Malaysia, the pandemic led to social distancing restrictions on a wide range of activities, including the registration of births, marriage and death, religious gatherings, education, and sporting. In addition, Thailand also affected by novel coronavirus disease. Thailand was first the country to report a case outside China on 13 January 2020. This pandemic gives an impact to the people. For example, when Bangkok Airways announced a plan to cut their executives' salaries.
So, climate change. What is climate change? Climate change is a long-term shift in global patterns in temperature, rainfall, and also precipitation in a long period of time. The increasing amount of gas emissions such as carbon dioxide, CO2, methane, CH4, and nitrous oxide, N2O, because of the human activities are among the factors that contributed to this climate change. The ASEAN-4 consists of Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and Philippines are among the vulnerable countries to this climate change. When the climate is changing, it will give the big impact on natural disasters such as floods, heavy rainfall, and also tropical cyclones. As most of the ASEAN-4 residents are focused their economic on the agriculture, this definitely will give the big impact on their loss. When the climate is changing, this will also give the big impact on food demand. Food like rice, wheat, and maize that rely on the temperature will face a big problem on their production. If the ASEAN-4 countries didn't resolve this problem, this definitely will give the big impact on the regional economy, as it takes the key sectors such as agriculture, tourism, marine catches, and also labor productivity. That's all from me. Thank you.
For the conclusion, it is important to all the countries, which is Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia, to handle the problem that can give effect to the country. Problems such as haze, deforestation, water pollution, climate change, and pandemic must be handled quickly because it can cause a great problem to the people, country, and even the whole country in ASEAN-4. All the problem in ASEAN-4 need to be solved, as these 4 countries are developing countries and provide many benefits to other ASEAN countries.